So the evil Haman has been eliminated, but there is still an issue in the kingdom. The story is not over yet, so keep watching to find out what happens next. Hi everybody, before we get started, if you wouldn't mind clicking subscribe to my channel, I would really appreciate it. And at the end, please like and share this video. Now here comes today's lesson. We're back, and today's lesson is on Esther chapter 8. And so when we left off in chapter 7, things did not look good for Haman. In fact, he was hung on the pole that he had created for Mordecai. And so I called it the divine reversal. And so we see God at work eliminating the enemy. However, the story is not over yet, because that evil Haman had created an edict, and the king trusted him with his signet ring and stamped it. And so there is still this day looming for the Jews, for the elimination of the Jewish people. And so Esther wants to talk to the king about it. So we're going to pick it up in Esther chapter 8. That same day, King Xerxes gave Queen Esther the estate of Haman, the enemy of the Jews. And Mordecai came into the presence of the king, for Esther had told how he was related to her. So now the king knows her identity, her Jewish identity, her relation to Mordecai. So the king took off his signet ring. He got the ring back from Haman, and he had reclaimed it from Haman and presented it to Mordecai. So he's passing the ring around. And Esther appointed him over Haman's estate. That's Esther 8, 1 through 2. So the king has this pattern of passing this ring of power around. He took it from Haman, and now Mordecai is the one with all the power. However, we still have this issue with the edict. So Esther fell to the ground, pleaded and begged the king to do something, but he could not revoke it. And so he looked to Esther, and she says to the king, "If it pleases the king," she said, "and if he regards me with favor and thinks it is the right thing to do," again, she's stroking his ego, "and if he is pleased with me, let an order be written overruling the dispatches that Haman, son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, devised and wrote to destroy the Jews in all the king's provinces. For how can I bear to see disaster fall on my people? How can I bear to see the destruction of my family?" That's from Esther 8, 5 through 6. And so Esther is now appealing to her king. She knew that the edict could not be eliminated, so her idea was to write a new edict, which gave the Jews the power to defend themselves against the attacks that were going to be coming in the month of Adar. And so Esther falls to the ground. The king holds out his golden scepter again to her because he loves his queen. But again, he couldn't eliminate the decree that was already written. So he was a rule follower, and so he responded in 8:8. "Now write another decree in the king's name in behalf of the Jews, as seems best to you." So basically, do whatever you want, Queen Esther, "and seal it with the king's signet ring. For no document written in the king's name and sealed with his ring can be revoked." And so he completely agrees to do exactly what Esther wants him to do. He turns over his power, authority now to Esther and Mordecai. This is getting good. And so they didn't waste any time. It says in verse Esther 8, 9 through 10, "At once the royal secretaries were summoned on the 23rd day of the 3rd month." This is the month of Sivan. And so again, we're talking about the Jewish calendar. "They wrote out all of Mordecai's orders to the Jews and to the satraps, governors, and nobles of the 127 provinces stretching from India to Kush. These orders were written in the script of each province in the language of each people, and also to the Jews in their own script and language." So they were translated in all these different languages so there could be no miscommunication. And Mordecai wrote in the name of King Xerxes. He's writing in the name of the king now. Sealed the dispatches with the king's signet ring, which he now was wearing, and sent them by mounted couriers who rode fast horses, especially bred for the king. This is Esther 8, 9 through 10. And so, again, the timing of this, the original edict was to be carried out on the 13th day of the month of Adar, the 12th month. And this month that is mentioned, Sivan, is the 3rd month. So we still have 9 more months for the original edict to take place. And so there's a lot of time to prepare and kind of show the people this new way and who is now in power. And so then Mordecai makes a public appearance. So these letters go out, and then he is going to show up to encourage his people, the Jewish people. And it says in Esther 8, 15 through 16, when Mordecai left the king's presence, he was wearing royal garments of blue and white, a large crown of gold, and a purple robe of fine linen. So he was dressed like a king, like he had been paraded around. So they're seeing him again in the role like a king. And the city of Susa held a joyous celebration. For the Jews, it was a time of happiness and joy, gladness, and honor, because Mordecai is a Jew, and now he is second in command. And so now they have faith that they are going to be saved. And not only did it give the Jewish people strength and courage and confidence, but it actually resulted in more converts to people becoming Jewish. And it says in Esther 8:17, in every province and in every city to which the edict of the king came, there was joy and gladness among the Jews, with feasting and celebrating. And many people of other nationalities became Jews because fear of the Jews had seized them. And so, again, the tables have been completely turned. Now there's this ripple effect going out where the Jewish people, starting with Mordecai, are now in control. So this is getting so good. And so next week we will have, in our next lesson, Esther 9 and 10. 10's a very short chapter, so we're going to combine it. And that will be our final lesson. And we're going to see how the story of Esther ends. But things are turning around for the Jewish people. So stay tuned, and we hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.